Well, for a little bit more on this, we're now joined on the line by Correctional Services Spokesperson Singabakho Nxumalo. Thank you so much indeed for joining us and welcome to the program.
A very good evening and thank you for having us.
All right, so the passing of the Convicted Offenders Amendment Bill would mean that convicted offenders will have a DNA sample taken before they're released from prison. Is that going to help, or what does that mean?
We had started with that particular process. You remember when the President announced the special remission of sentences, I think it was in 2019. We did announce that all those who will be benefiting from it, they will have their fingerprints taken and other substances just to check if they do not have other pending cases. What it did is that we had some inmates who then felt refused, even said no, they are not willing to be taken out because they don't want their fingerprints taken, which indicated that perhaps they knew that there were other cases. But from those whom we managed to take their fingerprints, we then received reports that some of them were wanted people in some other cases. So by doing so, it does assist the system in ensuring that people who have been on the wanted list, do get to be tried for other offences. But others did go out and behaved well due to support that they received. They are still out there. But unfortunately, some do commit other offences and they had to be brought back.
All right, let's talk about the numbers. 1% of 14,000 sounds like a lot. Let's compare with other parts of the world, because I'm sure that we're not the only country that has an issue in terms of offenders reoffending once they've gone through the prison system.
The correct mathematics will say it's 0.8%, which to us it's a very good number. Yes, one person recommitting or going back to the life of crime does concern us. But when you look at the caseload, in South Africa we have just below 70,000 people who are parolees and probationers. That's a big number. And when you have only 1% or below 1% of them going back into the life of crime, that will say, no, there is good work which is happening there. But then the area of interest is, what is it that is driving them to go back into the life of crime? And we've done some studies, and at least we do have some finding to that to that effect.
All right, we'll talk about those just now. I just want to get a sense of where we are in terms of the rest of the world, perhaps. What's their rates? Let's take a look at maybe, Europe and North America, maybe even. What's the percentage there compared to ours?
I do not have the exact percentage in terms of other countries, but I know for a fact that the countries in Europe are doing better than us. But also have to look at the socio-economic conditions and even the type of correctional facilities that they have in those countries and the programs they have for inmates when they leave correctional facilities. I know for a fact that in Africa we're doing very well. We do surpass in other countries in South America and even some states in the U.S. But then again, it goes back to the type of support that inmates get when they leave correctional facilities. For as long as you have entities or companies who will not prefer to employ an ex-inmate due to a criminal record, then you know that you are running into a serious challenge. But fortunately, some of them do secure employment. They don't come back to our facilities. Others are able to start businesses. Even then, they do create employment even for other people. So as a country, we're doing well, but even that 1% does concern us. We'll want to be at a point where everyone who's released on parole doesn't have to come back to our care merely because they couldn't adjust to a normal life out there.
As the name of your department suggests, Correctional Services, is your job to correct previous criminal behavior, rehabilitate and get people ready for a different life when they come out?
Yes, our job firstly is to correct the offending behavior. then rehabilitate people, prepare them for a life post-incarceration, so that when they get a second chance, they're able to grab it and they're able to live a positive life. And we do have very successful case studies where people were admitted even when they could not even read and write. But by the time they left our facilities, they did not just have a certificate, but even a skill. And, they could even start businesses, run successful entities out there, even employ ordinary South Africans. So then it is such stories which give us, hope as a department that indeed we do adhere to the mandate given to us by the Constitution. But as a country, we've always stated that, corrections is a societal responsibility. It is not only the job of correctional services, but everyone has to make a contribution in ensuring that, one, people do not commit crime, but should they commit crime, they are then assisted in order to ensure that, they correct their wrong ways. And then once they're out there, they start to live positively.
All right, so you can only do so much. Train, educate, rehabilitate. But I suppose then society, employers, everybody else then has to play a role. And if they've served their time, they should really start on a clean slate. I guess that would make the difference.
It would definitely make a difference, because when you look at inmates who immediately get support once placed out, they do very well. We even have other employers who will come to us to say, I gave maybe 2 people a chance, and they are doing a wonderful job for me. And if you have other people in the same skills trait, please do send them to me so that I can also give them, an opportunity. And then at least then it does create a cushion for them people when they leave our facilities, that they will get some form of support and they can be on their own and even support their families. So as the department, will never get tired, reaching to the communities out there, prospective employers to say, do give ex-inmates, a chance. The skills that they have, they are at the equal length with the type of training that ordinary South Africans would have received from a college or even other institutions of higher learning, or even the institutions where people get, specific training for a particular trade. Hence, as correctional services, we pride ourselves for having done what we call the skills that we render or that we offer to inmates are accredited. We do not just do training for the sake of doing it. If it's not accredited, we don't do it.
Are there some people that you can see straight away, and observing their behavior over time, that they're not going to be rehabilitated and that they're just serving their time? What do you do when they've served their sentences? Are you literally just waiting for them to get caught again?
It is very unfortunate to get an individual defined to be a habitual offender. These are people who frequent our facilities. Even when placed out in no time, they are back because they've committed other offences. And unfortunately, those people will have to serve their time until the sentence expires, and then you will have to release them because it is unlawful to keep them beyond their time. And when they come back, you just have to admit them. But we do not give up on an individual. Hence, we have a specialist in our employ, a social worker, psychologist, even criminologist, who must really assist in terms of making a proper assessment of an individual, identifies specific needs. And in case that person requires professional help, it must be made available to that person. But it is not a good state when you have someone defined to be a habitual offender, because it therefore says that person becomes a burden, on the state. Hence, we say the money that the state gives us, there must be a return, on investment, meaning that the skill that we give to a person, that person must go out there, create employment, live a positive life, and support even other communities.
All right, we've run out of time, but one very quick question. Sometimes your department and the system also contributes to the problem, because we know somehow contraband finds its way into the prisons. We know that there's quite a bit of corruption that carries on, and that a lot of criminals carry on with their work from inside the prisons. How are you going to stop that? Because that surely must be contributing.
We are tightening security in our correctional centers, and we are taking firm action against our own. I'm talking about officials who get involved in the smuggling of these contrabands. We do not have other options. We deal with you. We don't just dismiss you from the department. We even open a criminal case against you, because we need to set an example and we need to demonstrate to the people out there that correctional services is not a place for people who will camouflage in a brown uniform, whereas they're doing things which are against our mandate. So as a department, we are strengthening our security, and those found to be in the wrong, unfortunately, we have no mercy for them. We have to deal with them, because what we are striving for is contraband-free centers, because these contrabands, especially mobile phones, do cause so much harm to society. Hence, we do not want them in our facilities.
All right, Mr. Nxumalo, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much indeed for joining us, and we wish you the best with the work that you continue to do. Thank you for your time.
It can only be a pleasure. Thank you.